what do you do about people who have such competing catastrophes or narratives of opposing catastrophes? And they're together in the same land. They're not going anywhere. They can't go anywhere. And yet on both sides, you find elements who say, this is my land. So how do you, as a radical love warrior, heal those traumas?
Yeah, that's a profound question, though, brother. It really is. I think the first step is to accent the enabling virtue, which is courage, which allows for other virtues like justice or love or magnanimity or whatever. Because I believe, God bless you, that the history of the species is not just a narrative. These are persistent realities.
Yeah.
The history of the species is one in which dominant forms of behavior tied to greed and hatred and fear, structures of domination, exploitation, and oppression. And the best of our species, and it comes in a number of different forms. It could be secular, it could be Islamic, it could be Judaic, it could be Christian, it could be Buddhist or what have you, but are those who try to create moments of interruption and eruption. Because that's what love is on an interpersonal level. Right? That's what friendships are. That's what self-determination of various collective groups are, what democracy is. All of these are moments of interruption in a history of overwhelming suffering. I mean, Hegel said what? History is a slaughterhouse. Gibbon said history is a series of human crimes and follies. They're not wrong. It's just that we can't allow those to have the last word. We can't deny it, but we cannot allow them to have the last word. So that when you go into any conflict, you start off with an assumption. We human beings are wretched as a species. That's just who we are, no matter what color, gender, national identity, sexual orientation, or whatever. Given that reality, at the same time, we're wonderful.
Yeah.
Because we have the capacity to love, the capacity to organize for justice, the capacity to generate hope. And it's the artists who in many ways are the vanguard of the species, because they are the ones who remind us of what those moments of interruption are about, and they give it concrete embodiment in sound. Words are too inadequate. As T.S. Eliot says in Bert Norton, they slip, they slide, they strain, they crack. We need something more than words. What's beyond words? Silence. That's what you often have in the face of overwhelming suffering. Our Hasidic brothers and sisters taught us that.
Yeah.
Weeping, silence, song.
Song. That's the last part. Yeah.
You see, but it's a process. So the words themselves are so bastardized and so misused so often, and yet we're stuck with them. But we have something more than words. Right? We got silence. We got song. We got tears. We got laughter. But in the end, we have concrete examples of human beings who choose to change the world and not allow catastrophe to have the last word. So in many ways, my campaign really, in some ways, is about reintroducing America to the best of itself.
Absolutely. But how do we get people to have this more universal feeling where, as you've said before in other interviews, nationalist ideology seems to be the dominant one around the world. You see that happening over and over again. We're in our own political silos here.
No, it's true. No, nationalism is probably the most powerful ideology of the modern world.
Yeah.
That the age of Europe generated conceptions of protection, association, and recognition in the nationalist mode. And so that became dominant. You see, that's why when you look for working class movements, where is the internationalism of working class movements compared to the nationalism of workers, the nationalism of elites, the nationalism of everyday people? Feminists the same way, right? Feminist internationalists want to be internationalists tied to progressive conceptions of gender. Well, no, most of the women we know in the world tied to the flag rather than internationalism. Black folk the same way.
Yeah.
Not just because Obama, even though Obama made black folk flag wavers in ways they had never been flag wavers before. But even still, even with black folk, you know, you put that American flag up, they're willing to live and die to join the army. You put blackness up, well, let's have a conversation and a seminar, but I'm not going to die for it.
Yeah.